السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. طلاب الفرقة الأولى شعبة اللغة الإنجليزية كلية التجارة جامعة المنوفية. Actually, we started already introducing how to solve linear programming graphically, and we introduced a graphical solution. But today we are adding more applications, more examples to explain how to solve using the graphs. So the graphical solution, mainly you try to solve the linear programming using the graphs. And we said that the main advantage that it's very simple. You have the same way, whatever you are maximizing or minimizing an objective function. The main challenge that if you have only two decision variables, then you can use the graphical solution. In that lecture, I'm answering some questions from your side. المحاضرة اللي فاتت كان في أسئلة من أكثر الطلبة عن how to highlight against the sign, how to solve if you have minimizing the cost. يبقى أنا في المحاضرة دي بشكل أو بآخر بحاول أجاوب على الأسئلة بتاعتكم من خلال تطبيقات أو أمثلة أكثر. هعمل application على two examples. The first one maximize the profit والsecond one minimize the cost. النهاردة المحاضرة كلها بتدور حوالين graphical solution، لكن هركز على التفاصيل اكثر واعمل ديسكشن عشان اجاوب على اسئلتكم المختلفه اللي انا تلقيتها من اكثر الطلبه على المحاضره الاولى. يبقى المحاضره الاولى هي المين lecture to solve linear programming using the graphs. النهارده هكمل نفس الايديا لكن هيبقى في تفاصيل اكثر وبحاول اشرح بطريقه اسهل عشان يبقى الامر اوضح لكثير من الطلبه اللي كان عندهم استفسارات. اغلب الاسئله هلخص اغلب الاسئله اللي جاتني كان ازاي اعمل هايلايت against الساين، ازاي هعمل هايلايت لو كانت الاوبجكتيف مينيمايز الكوست، ازاي بطلع الكورنر بوينتس. انا هجاوب على كل الاسئله دي من خلال الابلكيشنز دايركت in that case. So in general we said the graphical solution for the linear programming we have three steps. First one, transform constraints to be equations and find 2 points for each equation. The second, plot the equations and highlight and find the solution area or feasible region. Highlight according to the sign or against the sign. يبقى هنا الهايلايتنج اما against the sign عكس الاشاره او according to او with the sign مع الاشاره. هنشوف ده مع بعض في الابلكيشنز. The last step انه you have after finding a solution area you find the corner points and then substitute in the objective function and then find the maximum or the minimum value according to your objective function. يبقى أنا خطوات الحل بشكل مختصر بحول المتباينات إلى معادلات وأوجد لكل معادلة نقطتين. ليه؟ لأن أنا عندي linear functions linear equations، يبقى يكفي لكل equation أجيب نقطتين بس وأرسم على الجراف. بعد ما بنعمل البلوت بيبقى عندي هنا البلوت ده للمعادلات. أنا أصل المعادلات دي كان إيه؟ في ستيب 1 كان متباينات، وبالتالي بعد ما بترسم المعادلة بتحولها إلى متباينة على الرسم من خلال التظليل. احنا قلنا أصل التظليل مع الإشارة، يعني أصل إنك تظلل الانيكواليتي، أصل إنك تظلل المتباينة مع الإشارة بتاعتها. أنا بقول عشان خاطر احنا عندنا هنا أكثر من متباينة وعندنا أكثر من constraint، وبالتالي عشان أوجد السوليوشن اريا ممكن تعمل according to the sign أو against the sign. ممكن تظلل مع الإشارة أو عكس الإشارة. وقلنا في كل الأحوال لو أنت بدأت تظلل مع الإشارة يبقى في الآخر منطقة الحل هي المنطقة المظللة من كل القيود. لكن لو ظللت عكس الإشارة تبقى في الآخر منطقة الحل هي المنطقة الغير مظللة نهائياً. ودايماً التظليل هيبقى في الربع الأول because of the non-negative constraints that we have. خلاص؟ طيب الكلام ده احنا we answered ده في الليكتشر اللي فاتت وعملنا عليه application. النهارده هعمل two applications. one application to maximize the profit وهعمل discussion in details على التشالنج اللي كان find in these three steps and then another application to minimize the cost. The first application maximize the profit that equals 70x plus 50y subject to two constraints. We have two structural constraints, 4x plus 3y less than or equal 240, and the second constraint 2x plus 1y less than or equal 100, and you have a non-negative constraints. Okay, to solve on the step 1 I have to transform the structural equation, the structural constraints to be linear equations and find 2 points for each one. I think that it's very simplified way. As we said, that's very simple step. So step 1 now we have the first constraint that for x plus 3y it was less than or equal. Now we make it as equal 240. How to find the first point? The first point you are putting x equals 0, then find the y directly from the first equation equal 80. Then the first point that 0 and 80. That means x equal 0 and you have now y equal 80. That's the first point. The second point, putting y equal 0, find the x equal 60. Then the second point that 60 and 0. So first point 0, 80. The second point 60 and 0. Then now we are able to plot the first constraint as equation. The second constraint is tell 2x plus 1y less than or equal 100. You are doing that. I'll transform that to be equation and then find the 2 points in the direct way. First point will be 0 and 100. Second point 50 and 0. So now the first step, it's very easy, whatever the number of constraints that you have. Now I need to transform that. Now I need to plot, I need to visualize the constraints on the graph. On the graph, first you are doing that as linear equation and then highlight. Okay? And then highlight. How to highlight? That will be our discussion. The main constraint. المين concern how to highlight. ده كان أكثر سؤال من أغلب الطلبة إنه إزاي هعمل عملية التظليل، وده هيبقى الإيه الدسكشن بتاعتنا حالا دلوقتي. طيب البوينت now how to highlight, how to visualize, how to plot the graph. We have the x and y. We have the x, that the x axis, and that the y axis. The values on the x axis أو the scale of the x axis and the scale of y axis according to your points. يعني قبل ما بترسم ال x axis و y axis بتبص على البوينتس بتاعتك. نرجع تاني نبص على البوينتس بتاعتنا. دي البوينتس كانت عندي 0 80 60 و0. ده كان في الفيرست كونسترين. السكند كونسترين كان 0 150 و0. طبعا هنا it's clear that the maximum value for x and y is 100. You can fix the scale for x and y, including the maximum to be 100, and starting from 0, and then you have the maximum scale 100, and then you have the scale for x and scale for y. يبقى احنا البوينت المهمه في الرسم اول ستيب، عشان ده كان السؤال المهم، انه ببص على البوينتس بتاعه الاكس والواي لكل كونسترينت واعمل السكيل بتاع الاكس والواي according to the values of x and y. هنا عندنا لاحظ هنا الماكسيمم فاليو للاكس الفاليو 60 والماكسيمم فاليو فور واي هي الفاليو 100. يبقى انا هنا ده including ال 60 ممكن اخليه لغايه 100 او لغايه برضه 60 ما فيش مشكله لو عايز. خلاص كده يبقى 50 55 60 and so on. لاحظ هنا البوينت دي معناها في ايه؟ الديستنس equal 5. الديستنس equal 5 يعني ده 5 10 15 20 25. اوكي طيب يبقى you can fix the scale according what we can see, and based on that we can say it's very easy to fix the scale, and we know that from different points. طيب now I need to visualize the plots or equations. يبقى first we have to find 0 80 and 60 0 and find the straight line and so on. طب if I need to put the first constraint, actually the value, now I can put that, we need the value 0 80 on the y axis, 0 80 on the y axis, يبقى almost that 0 80. Okay, that 0 80. The second point 60 0, that the value 60, so that Allahu Akbar. So that the value 60. So now we have a straight line crossing these 2 points. Okay, almost يعني approximated. I can do that to be accurate. You have to be accurate somehow. So we have, I'm using the mouse, so that's why it's not accurate. Okay, so anyway, I have that on the other on the other slide. So I can move that now for the second slide. So that the value for 0 80 and 0 80 and 60 0, that's straight line, and that the straight line now for the first constraint. Now the main point. The first constraint, it was less than or equal. That the main sign. The main sign, it was less than or equal, not equal. So now the line presenting the equation. Now I need to highlight to present or visualize the inequality or the constraint. بالبلد خالص الخط ده بالنسبة لي كده عبارة عن معادلة. لكن أصل الكونسترين كان inequality، كان متباينة. فلازم أعمل highlight to present the constraint or the inequality. يبقى لازم أعمل تفضيل عشان أعكس هنا عمليه الايه؟ الرسم للمتباينه او للقيد بتاعي. طيب how to visualize, how to highlight. هنا قلنا في 2 points I can highlight according to the sign. وقلنا احنا بنرسم في الفيرست كوارتر because of the non-negative constraints. احنا قلنا دايما ابدا الرسم على طول في الفيرست كوارتر في الربع الاول. ليه؟ لان انا عشان عندي هنا النون-negative constraints فشغال في الربع الاول. طيب هنا عايز اعمل هايلايت. هنا ال 4x plus 3y less than or equal 240. How I can highlight? In general you can select any point. ده هنا that means line ده dividing the area in 2 parts. ده الفيرست part خلاص. And that is second part. And now I need to highlight. Which part I have to highlight? If I'm highlighting according to the sign, لو أنا هعمل تظليل مع الإشارة هظلل to the right ولا to the left؟ طبعا very simple way إنك you can select one point. ممكن تختار point من الاريا دي وتعمل substitution. خلاص يعني ممكن اختار point من هنا واختار point من هنا واعمل substitution في الانيكواليتي، واللي يعمل satisfaction للانيكواليتي ده هيبقى هو البارت that I need to highlight. تاني لو انا عايز اظلل مع الاشاره هختار نقطه من الاريا الاولى. هنا كأن اللاين ده قسم الاريا الى جزئين، جزء اول وجزء ثاني. هختار بوينت اي بوينت من الاريا دي واعمل substitution. لو حققت الانيكواليتي يبقى انا I have to highlight الاريا دي لو انا بعمل تظليل مع الاشاره. ولو بعمل تظليل عكس الاشاره، لو انا خدت البوينت دي وعملت سبستيتيوت وعملت ساتسفاي يبقى انا هعمل التظليل عكس الاشاره فهظلل الناحيه الاخرى. يبقى انت عشان تحدد انهي اريا تعمل لها هايلايت بتختار اي بوينت وبتعمل سبستيتيوشن دايركتلي وتحدد الكلام الاريا بتاعتك. طيب سريعا كده هنعمل ده سريعا اهو. اختار اي بوينت. نفترض انا هاخد معاكم البوينت دلوقتي اللي هي البوينت مثلا assuming ان انا هختار اسهل بوينت ممكن تكون عندي اللي هي البوينت بتاعه 25 خلاص. assume كده ان انا هختار معاكم دلوقتي البوينت اللي هي 25 اللي هي البوينت دي البوينت دي في الفيرست اريا هنا 25 لما اعمل substitution خلاص ان 4 times 25 plus 3 times 25 4 times that the point 20 I can write down that 25 and 25 that the point in the first area, the first part of the graph. So 25 times 4 equal 100 plus 25 times 3 equal 75. Then 175 that exactly less than 240. يبقى لو عملنا if you are substituting in that actually inequality you'll find that satisfied. يبقى that means if you are highlighting according to the sign. لو انا هظلل مع الاشاره هظلل الجزء اللي هو ايه to the left، الجزء دي للشمال كده خلاص. لكن لو انا بظلل عكس الاشاره if I'm highlighting against the sign يبقى هنظلل other side هتبقى الجزء ده highlighted now. خلاص اهو انا هعمل تظليل دلوقتي against the sign معايا. يبقى احنا الفيرست equation اللي هو البلو لاين that الفيرست constraint we highlight to the right against a sign وhow to decide that which area. يبقى you are selecting one point and substitute in the inequality and find that out. خلاص يبقى انا دلوقتي now that area that is solution area according to the first constraint. طبعا still we have another constraint اللي هو 2x plus y equal 100 equal 100. So that the point. Okay, so now we can move to the second constraint. Second constraint to plot we have on the y-axis. Now we can change the color. So that 100 0 and that 50 0. That on the x-axis, y-axis. Now we have a straight line crossing 2 points. That the line. Now I need to highlight against the sign because we have the agreement. Now we are highlighting against the sign to that less than or equal. So now highlight against the sign. Still how I can decide now the red line dividing the area is still in 2 parts. That the first part and that the second part. Now I need to highlight, still use the same point. If you can use it actually still because in the first part that 25 substitute 2 times 25 is 50 plus 25 that equals 75 less than 100. Yes, you will point this still with me. You are highlighting against the sign, then you are highlighting in this area. Okay, so now we are highlighting this area. So now the white area or the unhighlighted area, it will be solution or feasible region. So now that is the feasible region now. So that's step 2. Step 2, first transform, second find transform, find 2 points. The first step. Second step, then you plot lines and highlight. And step 3, find the corner points. The corner points for the unhighlighted area, that will be corner points. For the unhighlighted area, that 1 point, and that is 2nd point, and then an intersection 3rd point, and that the last point. Okay? يبقى these points, the corner points for my solution. يبقى الفيرست كويستشن هاو تو هايلايت، احنا وضحنا كده ان ديتيلز ازاي بنضلل، بنختار بوينت، بنعمل سبستيتيوشن، لو جت البوينت دي ساتسفاي الكونسترينت بعمل تضليل مع الاشاره يبقى في الاريا دي، لو عكس الاشاره في الجانب الاخر. يبقى دايما اللاين بيقسم الاريا لتو بارتس، انت بتحدد انهي بارت بتعمل له تضليل، لو مع الاشاره يبقى اللي بيحقق المتباينه، لو عكس الاشاره يبقى الجزء الاخر او المقابل ليه. طيب كده عملت تضليل هايلايت، اللي عايز افايند الكورنر بوينتس، هعمل ديسكشن للبوينت دي في الاذر سلايد just to be clear now. So now we have these points, we decided how to highlight. يبقى now I can add this point. Now we can add the highlighting for all of them that the highlighted area against the sign. Okay, just to be clear. So now our corner points now, that the first point, and that the second point, that the third point, the intersection point, and that the last point. Okay, so now that the corner points for the solution area or the feasible region, and we name them as the corner points. We are sure that one of these points now maximizing the profit and one of them minimizing the profit. We can put names, that is A, and that is B, and that is C, and that now is D. Okay. So now I need to decide which point now will be the solution for the linear programming that we need to solve, or that we need to find the maximum profit for. So we can put that as in one table. So now we can put that the maximized profit equals 70x plus 50 y, that the objective function that we have. So then we can put that in one table, as we said before. We can put the values. So now that the points that we have, the first point A, second point B, the third point C, the last point is D. From the graph, very clear that in the A it's 0, 0. It's very simple. It's value 0, 0. The second point, it's clear that it's 50, 0. Okay, that 50, 0. Okay, so that point is 50, 0. Okay, the point C, I need to find it out. I need to approximate it. Actually, if it's not clear from the table, then you can approximate. So now, if I need to find it out, from the graph, mostly it will be, okay, I'm now finding it out. So that's almost 30. So that the point almost 30. And that the point almost 40. So from the graph, it's 30, 40. But now I need to discuss if I cannot find it directly or in somehow accurate points from the graph, what I can do. The point D, it's clear that it's 0, 80, X 0 and Y is 80 for the point D. Okay, 0, 80. Now, in point C, I said from the graph, it's clear that 30, 40. Okay, 30, 40. 30 and 40. Now I need to discuss one point. If I cannot find the value C directly from the graph, how I can find it out? It was one of the questions. يعني أحد الأسئلة اللي جاتني على الجرافيكال سوليوشن من أغلب الطلبة إنه إزاي أحدد البوينت لو مش واضحة على الجراف. أنا very simply بقول البوينت دي عبارة عن intersection لمين؟ البوينت دي intersection للتو لاينز اللي هو red and blue lines دول، صح كده؟ طيب. Now the intersection now the solution for these two equations. يبقى first a line, each line is equation. كل خط من دول عبارة عن إيه؟ عبارة عن معادلة. والintersection هو عبارة عن the unique solution for the two equations. يبقى الانترسكشن ده عبارة عن الحل الوحيد للمعادلتين دول. يبقى أنت لو عندك two lines دول as equations, if you are solving the two equations with two unknown variables, then the solution for that will be the intersection point. يعني بالبلد خالص هات لي المعادله بتاعه الخط الاحمر والمعادله بتاعه الخط الازرق، حل المعادلتين مع بعض كانهم معادلتين في مجهولين، الحل اللي هيطلع لك يبقى الفاليو في اكس والفاليو اوف واي هو ده الانترسكشن بوينت سي. خلاص، يبقى البوينت سي لو انا مش عارف اجيبها هجيب المعادلتين بتوع الخطين دول واحلهم مع بعض. انا من شويه خالص كان سهل جدا نعمل ده، ان انا عندي البوينت الاولى بالنسبه لي كانت ليها معادله زي ما قلنا، سوري الريد لاين كان ليه معادله والبلو لاين كان ليه معادله. انا بعد ما هعمل سبستيوشن هرجع تاني اوريكم المعادلات ونحلهم مع بعض ونطلع ال 30 وال 40 سريعا. خلاص، لكن الانسر الكورنر الانترسكشن لو مش if it's not clear from the graph then solve the intersection lines as two equations with two unknown variables. خلاص، الاجابه الواضحه والصريحه لو نقطه مش واضحه بالنسبه لي من على الجراف هحل الخطين كانهم معادلتين في مجهولين. اوكي، طبعا دايركت سبستيتيوشن لو عوضنا فيه دي الزيرو زيرو معناها 70 تايمز 0 بلس 50 تايمز 0 ايكوال 0، يبقى اول لاين بتديني البروفيت 0. السكند لاين او second point sorry second point 50 and 0 that means 50 times 70 times x and x now is 50 by 70 times 50 plus 0 that equal 3500. يبقى الفاليو دي 3500. Okay, the third point 30 40 just direct substitution we'll find it 4100. Okay, the last point 080 direct substitution it's 4000. Now our objective to maximize the profit, then the point C that giving you the maximum profit. So now a solution in point C, that means the solution for that linear programming that x equal 30 and y equal 40 and the maximized profit now equal 4100, and then the solution of the graphical solution for that linear programming. Okay, so that's the first application. Just I will return back for two lines done, and we can see that how we can solve. Very simply return back for the two lines, that the two lines. Now solve them. These two lines, at the intersection of these two lines, solve them as linear equations with two unknown variables. Then you'll find the answer that x equal 30 and y equal 40. That's the point. This is the two for these two lines. That the two lines again. So that the line 1 for the that the blue line, and that the second constraint for the red line. Solve them as two equations with two unknown variables. You'll find the solution 30 and 40. خلاص, that to clarify the point how to find an intersection from the graph. Okay, now we can move for the another application. If you are minimizing the cost. So now the application that minimizes the cost equal to x plus 3y subject to three constraints. Yes, we have three constraints. First constraint x plus y greater than or equal 4, 3x minus 2y greater than or equal 6, y greater than or equal 3, and we have a non-negative constraints. Okay, following the same steps that we have. Step 1, transform the first constraint direct substitution. Now x plus y equal 4, you have x 0 then y 4 0 4, and the same y equal 0 then x equal 4, then the first 2 points for the first constraint 0 4 4 0. The second constraint 3x minus 2y equal 6 direct substitution. If you have x equal 0 then y equal negative 3, first point 0 negative 3, and then y 0 then x equal 2 2 0. For the last constraint, it's straight line, that indeed it's horizontal line, then we don't need any points to visualize that constraint. Okay, so that's step 1. It's very easy and direct. Step 2, in the same way, I need to visualize, I need to plot these lines and find the corner points of the solution area. So still, before solving, the maximum value for x equal 4 from 0 to 4, with maximum value for y it's 4 from negative 3 to 4. So now I have to have the graph to have a maximum value for y and x 4, with minimum value for x 0, with minimum value for y equal negative 3. Okay, so that the straight, that the area for x, and that for y, including negative 3 to 4 for y, and for x from 0 to 4. And now we are plotting actually on the first quarter. Okay, even if you have negative value, but now the solution area will be in the first quarter. Why? Because of the non-negative constraints. Okay, so that the constraints will points. Now I need to very simply directly. Now I need to highlight. I need to decide the points. The first point that 0, 4, and that 4, 0, and then we have line crossing these points. The second we have a 0, negative 3. So that for the first one, just I'm approximating it. That the first one. Okay. The second, now before moving to the second constraint, first constraint, it was greater than or equal, not equal only. Now I need to highlight still the agreement that we are highlighting against the sign. يبقى الاتفاق انا دلوقتي هظلل عكس الاشاره. اوكي الناس تبقى معايا. طيب x plus y greater than or equal 4. Now I need to decide which area. Again, that the first part and that the second part. Which part I need to highlight against the sign. طيب very simply select any point. Now we can select a very simple point that 1 and 1. The point 1 and 1. That point. That in the first part. Assuming that, sorry. So we can, to be accurate. Okay. To be accurate point. So that's 1 and 1 coordinates x and y. So this point 1 and 1 satisfying or not satisfying inequality. يعني النقطة دي معايا ولا عكس مع الإشارة ولا عكس الإشارة. أنا دلوقتي أنا عايز أعمل هايلايت عكس الإشارة. هختار أي بوينت في أي جزء وأحدد هل ده معايا ولا مش معايا. الفيرست بوينت 1 and 1 substitute 1 plus 1 equal 2 that it's not greater than. يعني الاريا دي against الساين، الاريا دي عكس الإشارة، الاريا دي مش بتحقق الكونسترين بتاعي. أنا يبقى ده عكس الإشارة، يبقى الاريا 1 هي عكس الإشارة. لو أنا بعمل هايلايت عكس الإشارة يبقى أنا دلوقتي هعمل تضليل للاريا دي. خلاص؟ لو أنا بضلل عكس الإشارة يبقى ده التضليل بتاعي against the sign. Now we are highlighting against the sign in that case. Okay. طيب. That's the first constraint. In the same way, the second constraint, and the same way, the third constraint. يعني البوينت إنك أنت first have line, then in line that and somehow dividing the area in two parts. أنت you have to decide which part you have to highlight. ولازم تعمل agreement all the constraint and all the constraints against the sign or according to the sign. يبقى لازم تحدد من الاول خالص انت بتضل العكس او مع الاشاره وتكتب ده clearly. خلاص في السوليوشن بتاعك تكتب ده بشكل واضح how you can actually highlight. Okay, so now we can move on. يعني you can move on for these points. يبقى that first indeed the first constraint. يبقى now we know that how to highlight against the sign. يبقى that according to this point. And then in the same, now I need to discuss for the second constraint. يبقى first constraint we know that we are highlighting against the sign and that against the sign. Now come to the second constraint. Second constraint, the red line that dividing the area in two parts. And that now the first part and that is second part. Which area I have to highlight against the sign? Now I need to highlight against the sign. Then you can select any point and then decide. Assuming this point is 4, 1. Assuming this point is 4, 1. 4, 1 is now against the sign or according to the sign, the 4 point. Now actually substitute in this one. 4, 1, that means x equal 4 and y equal 1. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 2, it's 10. 10 that greater than, so now sign it was greater than in value 6. So now we need to decide which area, 1 or 2, against a sign. So we have a 3x minus 2y, okay, greater than, okay, so the second constraint, it was that I have to confirm this point, indeed. I have to confirm this point. The second constraint, 3x minus 2y less than or equal, okay? It's not greater than. That point I have to, now I have to confirm that the main constraint, it was 3x minus 2y less than or equal a value 6. So now we transform it to be equal sign. And now I need to plot that line for the constraint. And now I need to decide we have two parts. The first point 4, 1. That point in the against or according to the sign. With or against the sign, you substitute 4, 1, 3 times 4, 12, minus 2, it's 10. So that value, it's not less than 6. But that against the sign, then we can highlight this point. But now I have to confirm in the first constraint, it was greater than or equal. والsecond constraint it was less than or equal. And the main question when I actually it was by mistake greater than. يبقى first second constraint it's greater than, no, it's less than or equal value 6. So now we have two constraints highlighted, yes. Now still we have one constraint to highlight. The value y equal 3. The main constraint it was y greater than or equal 3. Okay. يبقى first constraint greater than or equal. Second constraint less than or equal. The last is the third constraint greater than or equal. So now y equal 3. So that the line we can do that in different color. So that the y equal 3. Okay, so that's y equal 3. Now the main constraint y greater than, against the sign it's less than. Against the sign it's less than. Now I'm highlighting against the sign. Now I'm highlighting against the sign. So now in blue color we have to down left, red color to down right, and then for the green color, the green color line we have indeed to the down highlighted. So now the highlighted area. So now the solution area, the unhighlighted area, that's the feasible region now. Okay, so that the feasible region that we have. So that the first point, it's 0, 4. And that the second point, we need to find it out. And that the third point, we need to find it out. So indeed, mostly in first point, it's 0, 4. The second point, it's 1, 3. Okay. Even now, if I need to put in points, that A, 0, 4, that B, 1, 3, and that C, mostly 4, 3. But now that open area, the solution area, it's open area. We have 3 points at corner points. We have A, 0, 4. We have B, 1, 3. We have C, 4, 3. And now we can find the value that minimizing the cost. Okay, so now we can clear all that, and we can move for this point that the point that I'm saying now. Indeed, so now just to highlight again the points to be clear. So that the first point A, and that is second point B, and that is third point C. Directly from the graph 4, 3, 1, 3, 0, 4. As we said before, if you are not able to find them directly from the graph, you can find that using the equations for the lines that have the intersection. So now we can put that in one table. So that A, that B, and that C. The point B, A, actually it's 0, 4. If you have a point 0, 4, then the cost will be 12. Second point B, it's 1, 3. Direct substitution, that 2 plus 9 equal 11. The point C, indeed 4, 3. Direct substitution, we have that equal 17. Now we are minimizing the cost, yes. Then the minimum cost equal 11. So not the optimal solution that we have x equal 1, y equal 3, and the minimum cost equal 11. And that's the solution in the case that if you have the question minimizing cost and that the graphical solution. يبقى يعني based on that بناء على كل اللي انا قلته انا in somehow حاولت اشرح بشكل من التفصيل ازاي بنعمل هايلايت، بشكل من التفصيل ازاي بنحدد الكورنر بوينتس، بنوع من التفصيل التو كيسز بتوع المينيمم كوست والماكسيمم كوست. still لو في اي questions ان شاء الله هحاول اجاوب عليها في اكثر من فيديو. المحاضره الجايه النكست ليكتشر ان شاء الله will start to solve how to solve linear programming using a simplex method او algebraic method. يبقى how you can solve using algebraic method using somehow simplex method for the linear programming. شكرا لكم جميعا، التوفيق ان شاء الله. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.